What is up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? It is Stressman here, and today I am here to talk about the Batman. I think the way I'm going to do it, in the video beforehand, I said I was going to do a spoiler and a spoiler-free review. What I'm going to do is at the very beginning, I'm going to say my spoiler-free stuff, and then I will warn you when I go into spoilers. So, yeah. So the first half will be spoiler-free. Again, I went yesterday to go see this movie in Knoxville. I had a conference I had to go to for school, and it ended up lining up really well. And I was able to go see... Excuse me. It's a little late. I had to do a lot of schoolwork anyways, but back to what I was saying, I had to do go to this conference in Knoxville, and I watched this movie at 7 at Regal. I believe it's called The Pinnacle 18, and I watched it in IMAX. Apparently they were doing an IMAX showing across the country. For the Batman, I think 2 days early, because I think tonight is the exclusive events for influencers and stuff like that, and then Monday I believe was the actual red carpet. I don't know for sure, but anyways, moving on. I think this is the first I don't know if you would say commercial release or whatever, but anyways, I was able to get tickets 2 weeks ago, and was able to go. So, yeah. Where do I begin? This movie, honest to God, is probably, just off the top of my head, because I don't want to spoil or anything, is probably my favorite comic book movie that they've made. And you're probably sitting there thinking, are you talking Marvel or DC? I'm talking about both. This movie, legitimately, I haven't read a lot of comics, but I can tell you this feels like I was watching a comic come to life. And it's not the visual style, it's just it's just the way that it plays out. And I guess I can say this because it's not really the big of a spoiler, but I was able to read the Long Halloween comic book series before this, and this is actually what this movie is inspired by. And legitimately, even though it's not the same story, but it feels the same way as the comic book, and it's so good. And I'm not saying that any Marvel movie or DC movie before this I didn't like, or doesn't compare to anything now. I'm just saying legitimately this is what Batman should be. When I got out of the theater, I called Israel because we both went to go see showings of it, and the first thing that came to our head was that it reminded us of the Batman Arkham series game. If they made a movie and the Arkham games were the video game adaptation of that movie, this is what they would be. And that's nothing to dog on the movie. It's honestly a praise to the movie because I love the Arkham series and I think it's great. And I think it's the closest representation of Batman the comic book could be, the closest thing it could be. And not to say that Bale, Nolan's films, is not good anymore. Honestly, they're really good still. But this movie, I don't know how to put it into words. How it's just my favorite. I guess we'll go on to the acting and stuff, and then I'll kind of wrap up my spoiler-free talks here. But first we'll go with let's see. We'll go. Starting off, we'll go with the Robert Pattinson's performance. in this movie, and it is freaking phenomenal. Him playing Batman in this movie is amazing. It is a sight to see, and honestly, it's the best portrayal of Batman I've ever seen. I know, again, I know there's Keaton, I know there's, excuse me, I know there's Bale, and a lot of people like Ben Affleck, but literally, Pattinson got as close to, like, how Batman should be as humanly possible. Like, the whole time, I sat there and I was like, I could see why criminals fear him. And he fits it perfectly. The detective side of, like, Batman, because Batman is the greatest detective, is just phenomenal. Like, it really, really is. Like, he's great. As far as Bruce Wayne, I think he fits the Bruce Wayne that they were going for in this movie. Now, if we're going off of, like, how they've portrayed him before, honestly, I think that the charismatic guy, that you would not think that he is Batman, at night, would probably, and I'm going to sound crazy for this, is probably Clooney. And again, I know that sounds insane because he has the worst Batman movie, but whenever I picture, like, the charismatic guy that everyone likes in Gotham, that could be a great businessman and philanthropist, is Clooney. Now, I mean, to me, I think the best combination before this was Bale. I like Keaton, but I just think Bale was really good. But Pattinson plays this Batman perfectly to a T. Again, I'll get into the spoiler talks, but he just plays like, that's all I can say. Moving on, we got Zoe Kravitz, who plays Selena Kyle, which is, is Catwoman. I think she did a wonderful job as Catwoman, and this is going to be like a big thing because everyone in this movie pretty much is great, but I'm going to keep going. But yeah, she has the like, they're, I don't know if you would call Catwoman really she is flirty. I think that it's just really hard to explain how I picture Catwoman, because I always base it off of the Arkham games as well, and also who plays her in Batman Returns? That's gonna kill me. I keep thinking Michelle Pfeiffer, but I don't think it's Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't know. I'm gonna get flamed for that, but who cares? I mean, a lot of people care. But I think Zoe Kravitz did a really good job playing Catwoman. And I don't know how else to explain that. I just think she did a really good job. Then moving on, we have we'll go with Jeffrey Wright first, playing Commissioner Gordon. He did a really good job playing Gordon. Like, in this movie, it felt like Gordon, like, actually was a partner to Batman. Then in the Nolan films, where you kind of had, I would say they're more partners there than they are in the 80s Batman movies. Like, in the original Batman movies, you wouldn't even, like, Commissioner Gordon's just like another bystander. Like, he barely has any speaking roles at all. But I think that oh my god, who is he in the Nolan films? And that's gonna kill me too, because literally, Gary Oldman. I don't know why I couldn't think of Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, I think, is comic book accurate, like, to how Gordon looks normally, like how he's drawn to be. But I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Jeffrey Wright playing Gordon because I mean, I think his acting was phenomenal, and he really embodied what Gordon is, like the straight shooter cop that doesn't want to do anything shady or anything. And I think he's leagues and bounds better than uh, J.K. Simmons, even though again I know J.K. Simmons didn't have that long of a run as Oldman, but I whenever I think of Commissioner Gordon, I always think of Gary Oldman, and Jeffrey Wright did a great job, and I I don't know if he's on the level of Gary Oldman at this point. I probably need another movie, but he did a really good job playing Gordon. Then we'll get to the really fun parts. We'll go to Andy Serkis playing Alfred. I think Andy Serkis did a really good job at playing Alfred. I was really skeptical at the beginning because I always see Andy Serkis as like that type of villainous character. I don't know why. I just think of Snoke. I think he plays Dobby in Lord of the Rings, and the main character in Planet of the Apes. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Ape Sapien, but it's not. That is not it. It's Caesar. Yeah, Caesar. But I don't know. And I think he plays Claw in Black Panther. And anyways, I'm getting off topic, but I think he's not as good as as Michael Caine is, in my opinion. Like, I always picture Michael Caine as Alfred, and also the original Alfred actor from the 80s Batman movies. And forgive me because I always cannot remember his freaking name. That's gonna kill me. I really hate that I can't name who he is, because I sit there and I say that all I can think about is Michael Caine, but he played more Alfred than Michael Caine did, and I don't know his name, and it hurts me to say that because I also think of him because I think it's combined Michael Caine and him as when I think of Alfred. But I think Andy Serkis did a good job with playing on the aspect that Alfred is like a and I think he's in MI6 maybe. He's an agent of he's British intelligence or something like that. I can't remember how his backstory goes, but you feel that, and you also feel as like a guy that didn't expect to have to raise a kid, but did because he loved him. I think Andy Serkis did a good job. I was a little skeptical, but I think he did a good job. I'm going on forever. I'm like talking about this review, and this is gonna be like a 30-minute review because I'm still gonna get into spoiler talks. And then let's see. We'll go with John Turtero. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I always think of him as the Jesus in The Big Lebowski, and I think he's in Anger Management. And I know he's played other roles in that, but that's all I can think of. But he plays Carmine Falcone in this, and he does a really freaking good job too. Like, I didn't expect him to do such a good job playing him, and it's not like I have a lot of actors that played Falcone in the other ones. I just think of him again in the Arkham series, and I think you're exposed to him a little bit in the Nolan films, but I think he did a really good job. There's really nothing I can really say about that because there's nothing I can really compare it to, but like if Scorsese did like a mob movie and he was one of the mob bosses, it would be believable. I know that's, I don't know what you take from that, but I would give it high praise. And then we'll go to Colin Farrell playing the Penguin, or Oswald Cobblepot. Again, that was another one that I thought, I don't know how that's gonna be, because there's one scene, and I'll say it from the trailer. It's the car chase scene when he turns back and he's like screaming in the rearview mirror. Like, I was like, he's gonna be a little off for me. I don't know if I'm gonna like him. Boy, did he prove me wrong. Honestly, he was the biggest thing that proved me wrong in this movie. Like I said, Andy Serkis, but it was definitely Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell eats up playing the Penguin, and I love watching him. And honestly, if they made him like the main villain moving forward, like in another movie, like, I cannot freaking wait. He did a really good job, and you can't really rate it on the same aspect with Danny DeVito's, because it's just two different like characters. But I can compare it to the Arkham games, because I feel like that's more along the lines of what he was going for. And he's more of a, I guess you could say, gangster in this one. I don't know, but did a really good job. That's all I got to say about that. And then here is the one I was saving for last, because I'm going to start with the one that I really enjoyed first, which was Robert Pattinson. And I wanted to end it with one that I really freaking enjoyed too, was Paul Dano playing the Riddler. Paul Dano absolutely blew me away. And I thought he was going to do a good job just from watching Prisoners. He did a better job than I would have expected. Honestly, he's probably one of the best Batman villains ever shown in a movie. And not only that, like, it's legitimately frightening. Like, I'm not going to say that, like I'm going to lose sleep over it, but it's just so frightening watching him in the movie. And he just eats up the scenes. Every time he's in the scene, like a scene in the movie, he's phenomenal. And yeah, he just puts all the rest of the Riddler actors, I guess I could say, or portrayals to shame. Definitely get a lot of Zodiac Killer vibes from him. And yeah, he's just great. So overall, the cinematography for this movie is great. The acting is great, and there's not much I would change about this movie. There's only like 2 gripes I have. One of them is very small. The other one is sort of small too, but I went and rated this on Rotten Tomatoes after I got done watching it, and I gave it a 5 stars, like a 5 out of 5. It is one of the best movies, comic book movies again, that I've seen. I would rank it a little bit below Joker, because the Joker is just a completely different like type of movie than this, but at the same time, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I literally will have to go into the spoilers to talk about it. So when you watch it, go watch it before you hear me talk about the spoilers, because this movie, you do not need to sit here and listen to me talk about it. Just watch it. But again, definitely go see this movie. I don't care when you have to see it. Stay off your phones. Don't get on TikTok. Don't get on YouTube. Do not get this movie spoiled for you, because you just need to experience it in all its glory. So yeah, I'm ending the spoiler-free talk right here. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to leave. So, 1, 2, 3. Are y'all gone? Okay. I'm just gonna tell you because I'm not gonna try to seamlessly edit it together. I'll try to, but you'll probably notice. But I accidentally pressed stop recording after my spoiler-free talk. And I went on like a tangent, but I'll try to make it shorter. My main problem was the casting of the Joker in this movie. He's only in it for like a minute or two, but I don't like the actor. He's in Eternals and in Killing of a Sacred Deer, and I looked it up, and I've still forgotten who the frick he is. Barry Connigan. Again, I don't know if that's his act. Kogan, Barry Kogan. I don't know. I don't really care for his acting. And again, watching that scene in the movie, it doesn't feel like the Joker at all. Like the laugh is not there. The way he's talking, it's just, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't like his acting, and the only hope I have for it is they didn't show his face completely. Like they showed like a silhouette, and maybe they might recast him. I highly doubt they won't, but it'd be great. Again, I think it's a wasted opportunity not to have Willem Dafoe play the Joker, and I think literally the only reason why they didn't do it is because everyone would expect it, and I think they were just trying to get a young cast around him, and again, screw it. Like, literally, like, the dynamic between them and Lighthouse, and I don't like that movie either, but I like the back and forth. You know what? I can't say that. I don't like the lines in the movie, but you could, like, I guess what I should say is I like the cinematography, and I think that it showed us that Pattinson and Dafoe could have that dynamic like they would as Batman and the Joker. And it's just a shame that we're not going to ever get that because they've decided to cast some actor that everyone seems to like, but it's just, see, I didn't make that as a down point for this movie because he's only in it for 2 minutes, like I said. But the problem is that there's going to be repercussions moving forward because I think there's 2 more movies confirmed for this series and a TV show. But it sucks because I know when they get to that movie where he's in it, it's just going to be a letdown. And I know a lot of people are going to flame it for it. And I don't know why they didn't think to recast someone else. Like, why not get Cameron, is it Monaghan? From Gotham, I can't remember his name. He's in like I said, he's plays Jerome and Jeremiah Valeska in Gotham, which are basically the Joker. And he's also in Jedi Fallen Order. He plays Cal Kestis. And I think he's in oh my gosh, that TV show with William H. Macy. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm not going to try to get caught up on that because I'll be there forever till I look it up, and I'm not going to. But everyone knows what I'm talking about. And I think he would have really fit what this Joker or like this Batman series is going for. A young person that could play a scary Joker. And it really shocks me that they didn't go that way. They just went the popular route. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong because I think that they really hit like a home run on the casting for everyone in this film. But I don't know. What I got from that little snippet, I just, it's going to drag the sequel down. So that's just my little tangent. That the reason why I didn't knock it, like I said, is because it's a repercussion for the future movie, not for this movie. I think this movie is great. The only other gripe with this movie is I feel like the third act of this movie is a little bit of a letdown for the first and second half of the movie. Like, I really like the detective elements of this movie. Like, that is my favorite part. I like the Seven, the Zodiac vibe, and it's great. Honestly, like, I love David Fincher movies, and they really, really went ham on like that feeling. Um, and I hate that they basically just wasted the last act on like this really cheesy, like, there's bombs around the city. And I mean, the thing is, I'm glad they didn't do it to where like you have to defuse the bombs and all this other stuff. Now that would be cool on the aspect of it being like an Arkham game, like when the Joker or the Riddler gives out riddles and you have to, stop it from happening from this other stuff. But I think it would pale in comparison to what the rest of the, you know, movie was. Um, I don't know. I feel like it does a good purpose of showing like Batman growing from being this person that wants revenge to this person that is the savior of the city, and he's who he needs to be. Um, but yeah, that's my main gripe. I complain about it, but I can't think of anything else that it could be. And I feel like the writers didn't know either. So I don't know. I might be wrong about it, but that's just my thoughts. I don't know what it could be replaced by. I've thought about it for a day and a half now, and well, I say a day and a half, almost a day about it. But I don't know. I mean, I'll eventually come up with something. But what am I? I'm not a writer, so it's whatever. But again, I don't think those two things hinder my score of the movie. Um, Before this, I actually wanted to touch on. Before I end it, I wanted to touch on my thoughts on Robert Pattinson. I alluded to it at the beginning, but he plays Bruce Wayne so well as a broken person that never got used to um, Thomas and Martha dying. Like, he really feels like a secluded person that goes out at night and beats people up to stop crime. Um, and that's what I was saying is I feel like he plays this version of Bruce well. Like, you can compare it to Nolan and Keaton. Like, I feel like those are people that were traumatized by the event and uh now fight crime to make sure it doesn't happen again. Now they touched a little bit on it on Batman Begins, like going through like his progression. But I feel like this one did a really good job of capturing that like younger guy, you know, that hasn't forgiven himself and is just secluded to everyone else because he goes out at night and beats people up. So yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. The only thing I don't care for when it comes to Bruce is the way he talks to Alfred to this movie. Now again, I feel like their dynamic changes after the bomb blowing up in the manor. Um, but the way he treats Alfred like a jerk, like the cufflinks, he's like, "What makes you a part of this family?" Or, um, what was the other one? He's like, "You're not my father," and stuff like that. Like, again, that sounds like a person that is just acting rude to other people because they haven't forgiven themselves. Now, Again, I don't know if that gives you a free pass to act like a total douchebag, but I mean that's whatever. That's the only two things that I just didn't really care for the way he acted towards Alfred. But it totally makes sense for him not to go out in public and talk to other people. Like it makes total sense. And I just again, I Pattinson, uh, he really does a great job in this role. So yeah. But those are really my final thoughts on the movie. There's like again, the movie is just phenomenal. I love the way it's shot. Um, the effects are great. Now, the only thing I probably should talk about this. There is one thing in this movie I thought was stupid as all get out, and it's the scene where he's jumping off the tower where the Gotham City Police are, and he's like, there's a green screen behind his head while he's like gliding, and I think that is the worst like CG slash like green screen shot I've ever seen in my life. Like it legit looks like something from Adam West's Batman, and I don't know. I just think that they really failed in the department, like um video graphics department and stuff like that, and like it just does not look good, and the effects of it. But again, I keep saying all this stuff, but it's like, well, you should review this lower, but really, I can't. Like, it does such a good job, and like, I know I mentioned Joker earlier, but like, Joker's more of like this. Joker is like what it's based on. It's like Taxi Driver. It's like the king of comedy. It's that type of movie, like that person that's been beaten down by society and rises from it in their own way. This, however, is a detective movie like Zodiac and Seven. Like it's a serious movie, sort of like Joker, but it's more of like, why did this insane person do this? I guess you could say, like, I could picture Robert Pattinson's like Batman, like going after Joaquin Phoenix's Joker after he killed somebody and trying to figure out the clue. And he would never get, or like why it happened, because again, he's out of his mind. And I guess that's a weird analogy, but like they're so grounded that it's believable. But yeah, that's what I meant about them being like two completely different movies. Like it wasn't like they're totally like polar opposites. It's just it's hard to explain. That's why I would just put them in two different categories. Um, but yeah, that's my final thoughts. This is it looks like it's gonna be like 37 minutes long of me talking about this movie, but it is literally the best movie I've seen all year. And granted, I've only watched Scream. Um, and what else did I watch this year? Um, honestly, this year alone, I think I've only watched Scream. I I don't think I watched Jackass, but those are like two different like again that's two different like three different like genres you got going on here, and I liked every one of them, but I just couldn't rank them amongst each other. But like literally, if I had to say entertainment factor, this one, it's probably gonna probably it's probably it's probably going to be my movie of the year. Honestly, it is that good. Um, but we'll see. So yeah, uh, those are my final thoughts. If you have any thoughts, just leave them in the comments below. And again, I'm sorry for such a long video, but I had just I really love this movie, and I implore each and every one of you, even though the people that should be listening to this now have seen it, I hope. But if somehow you haven't, I don't think I gave away too much. I implore you to go watch this movie, please. please go watch this movie. This movie is so awesome, and I'm so glad I got to watch it early. Again, before I end it, I'm gonna try to make my Tarantino list. Later on, I have work and school and everything, so I'm trying to get caught up and everything in that. But once I do, I'm gonna try to, do the rest of my list. Try to finish the Shrek game and other stuff like that. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been Stressman. Well, I guess. I suppose it's no one. So, yeah. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.